What is up, YouTube? So today we are going to be going over a tier list finally. I want to express the fact that this is an early in the season tier list. Everything is not 100%. It's just my opinion as of now based on scrims, based on watching competitive play, playing ranked, playing casuals, playing everything. I will try to do this to the best of my ability. Might mess up a few times here and there. You guys don't need to freak out and rage if your favorite god isn't at the top of the list. It's okay. That's the way the video games works. My favorite god is Mercury. He's been up and down every month. Deal with it. That's life. It's okay. Everyone will make it. But anyway, we're just gonna jump into it. We're gonna go right down the list. Try to talk to you guys about why. I'm gonna go ahead. There is a legend for this. I'm just gonna tell you guys. SS for me is like broken gods. Like number one pick. If it's in the game, you're gonna win. S plus for me are gonna be your top picks in ranked, in conquest, in competitive. It's gonna be those gods that are you're trying to get picked first or get banned first, second, whatever. S tier are going to be your gods that aren't exactly banned all the time. They aren't like automatically banned. They're those gods that just sneak through. They're like the next best, like right there, like the really good gods that you want to play and you're probably going to get, and you're trying to determine whether you're going to get this one or that one, and that's how your bans are really going. A plus for me are going to be just your top gods that can be played at any point in time and don't need a team comp based around them. A tier are going to be okay, more of they're worth playing, they're good to play, but it's more like situational, or maybe not even situational, more towards just different gods that'll be played at different times. You'd rather play, say, Kalkin here because they have X player rather than playing Janet, so just something along those lines, if you guys get what I'm saying. B plus are gonna be your gods that are lower tier, aren't really that good, really need a team comp to carry them through, for them to do their job or role, whatever it is. B tier are just gonna be your poop. They're going to be your gods that maybe get played once or twice in competitive play and ranked, whatever. If people are having fun, those are the gods you're going to see more than likely. C tier, you're never going to see. D tier, to me, both C and D are the same. You're not going to see these shitty gods ever. So we're going to go and jump into it. First is Agni. We're going right into A tier. Agni's decent. With Purple Pot not being a starter item anymore, Agni does better. The fact that you can get a safe dash in and possibly clear is good. Your early game is what's weak. Your mid to late game is awesome. Agni dumpsters on so many gods. I would put Agni a little bit higher, but just because the early game a little bit weaker, not that good. AMC for me is going to be B tier. AMC can work if you build a full team comp that can protect AMC. It's that simple. The fact that AMC has no mobility, needs some farm, isn't safe at all, is the reason AMC is not going to be any higher. Opwash, also B tier. Garbage in the sense where if you don't have the perfect team comp, the perfect situation, the perfect protection, Opwash isn't going to work, but Opwash could possibly work for you. On her for me is going to be A plus. On her just does really well. They buffed the passive a while ago. Golden Bow's out of the game, which made clearing a little bit different, but On her is just a really good god to play. You're not going to first pick it on her, but if it's the god you want to go with for that match, you're going to see it. You will see a lot of On hers. Amaterasu. So if I didn't say it right for your liking, just deal with it. That's fucking life. I'm not going to say everything perfectly. Anyway, so Amaterasu. I'm looking at S plus, but I'm going to put S. So Ama does very well in the solo lane. To me, it's whatever she is the best solo laner in the game. I prefer to have an Ama. While laning can be rough for the first couple levels, once you get into a single team fight, you dumpster. If you get full CDR on this god and you enter a team fight, you start a team fight with your ult will be back up before most team fights are actually over right now, the way the meta is going. The ult is insane. The movement and the passive, we'll talk about in a second. The movement you get from the one and the damage you get from the one is actually a little ridiculous. If you guys didn't know, Hog is affected by Amaterasu's passive, so you do extra damage once Ama attacks 3 times, so anyone attacking something does extra damage after Ama gets 3 autos onto one target. So if you go to a Gold Fury and Ama hits it 3 times, everyone's going to start destroying it, blowing it up, and then Hog actually does extra damage. So you can blow up objectives insanely quickly with Ama. Like I said, team fight, god mode, laning phase can be weak for the first few levels. You can deal with it pretty easily. Anubis, B tier right there with Opwash. Anubis actually does a shit ton of damage and has a decent amount of control. If a good Anubis player gets ahead, it's actually pretty scary. But the fact that you have no mobility at all is just another situation where you need a team to be around you. You have to have like the perfect peel team. You need like a Thor, Geb, a good frontline solo, a really, really scary ADC to pull some of the pressure off of you, because they're going to be carrying if you're not, and then you just need a position great. Ao Kwang isn't in my top 5 junglers, but Ao Kwang is really good. I just feel like you can play around it a lot better now that he's gotten some nerfs. They've nerfed Soul Reaver a little bit. He's still obviously really, really good, but he's not just crazy first pick potential. Like I said, you can play him if he's like your go-to god. He's gonna do well no matter what the team comp is. He can be played in competitive, ranked, casuals, whatever. Aphrodite. I want to move Aphrodite up to A, but until I see it and feel it like it happen, I can't do it. So Afro's gonna be B+. I feel like Afro's slowly dwindling back into the meta. She'll probably get faded out again. Most healers come in for a second and then disappear because people remember, hey, I gotta buy anti-healing, and then it doesn't work out for them. But Afro in the mid lane, I've seen a couple of times. It can work. I'm kind of just hesitant to move Afro up any higher. Apollo, for me, is still really good. He's not played all that much, but it's Apollo. Global ult, split push potential, crazy auto attacks. Pretty defensive in my opinion. As a jungler, I hate trying to kill a good Apollo, because the dash, knock up, you got the mez, you've got the ult to get out. Apollo does very well if played correctly. It's just that simple. He's not the best. He's nowhere near the worst. Has potential to be played in a lot of situations. Might not be the best ADC though. Arachne, going to be B+ for me. Arachne's okay. Really good at 1v1s. Decent at 2v2 fights. But once you get into the big team fights, unless Arachne is just massively ahead, you just can't get into the fights and do anything against 5 players that aren't dumb. It just doesn't work out. More of a pub stompy type god, meaning if you go against randoms who don't know how to team play, then yeah, you're gonna crush and you're gonna do work with Arachne. But in a competitive or rank sense, it's just not gonna happen. Ares, I really like Ares. I think Ares is good. I think aggressive supports are awesome right now. If you can land your chains and use your ults and be very, very aggressive in the right situations, Ares is great. It's not as situational because people who play Ares well are just going to pick Ares and go at it and do work. So Ares is going to be A tier, not the top support. It's a very, really aggressive support. Not many people play him properly. So A tier for me. Artemis. Artemis is sketchy to put anywhere. So without Golden Bill, Artemis really has no clear. If you pair Artemis with like a Khepri or someone who can clear really well, might have potential. Once again, just a situation where need a right team comp, plus I need to see Artemis played more to really agree with Artemis being a decent ADC. Average at best right now. They buff, so the scaling is better on Artemis late game. But Artemis has always been fine late game. It's the early game where she really struggles. Athena is next. Athena is going to be A+. Great support. You have a taunt. You have a global ult. It's Athena. Athena's not going anywhere. Athena will always be in like the top 15 to 20 gods. That's just how Athena works. Awilix for me, A tier, situational. I pick Awilix as a counter pick god, or if a shit ton of junglers are banned. I'm not first picking, second, third, fourth. I'm like out of the junglers, Awilix is like 6, 7, 8, 9 on my list. Way more of a counter pick for me. She can be played if she's your favorite god or you just do really well with her. She can be played in a lot of situations. You don't have to have a ton of knockups. The other team doesn't have to have a ton of leaps, but that's where she excels, and that's when you're really going to want to pick her. Bacchus is seeing a rise in play. A+ for me. You can first pick Bacchus, honestly. The aggression out of supports right now is really, really good. It just does really well. Bacchus does a ton of damage. Your laning phase can be rough because Bacchus obviously doesn't have a lot of clear, but just the fact that you have kill potential, and for the early fights at mid harpies, fire creeps, early invades. The early invades, the level 5 going for speed or red buff invades are where Bacchus excels in my opinion. And then if you can do something off of that, kind of get your team going, then Bacchus is just going to keep doing better and better and better. Bakasura, poop. I don't like Baka. I don't think Baka works in any role at all. If you're going to play Baka, you better have some crazy team comp to carry you. So B. I want to put him in C, but I mean, he's not that shit. He just doesn't fit anywhere. Bastet. I hate Bastet. I don't like Bastet. Realistically, Bastet would be B. Honestly. She's not played that much. Her play potential, there's so many other gods. She has no real control. She excels when she can get her ult off and it doesn't die. Any team grouped up is going to kill cats instantly. I'm going to put Bastet in C just because I hate her, but realistically, she would be B. Deal with it. Bellona. Bellona's good. Bellona's just not the best warrior anymore. after a lot of the nerfs. She does fine in laning. She does fine in team fights. She's just not like god tier anymore, so she's gonna be A. Kabrakan, I don't like Kabrakan, but he's not complete and utter shit. He still works for some people in jungle, in solo, even as support. Very situational once again. You're not gonna top pick a Kabrakan, or very few people actually want to even play Kabrakan right now. So Kabrakan's gonna be B+. Chalk, B tier, great laning phase. Really can't die unless you misplay super hard, but once you get into team fights, fairly weak. Chunga, B+, kind of similar to Aphrodite. People can play her. The healing can be really frustrating. If she gets ahead, she actually does a lot of damage. She's able to build damage and no defense. Doesn't happen too often. Her clear isn't that great. Where she would lane solo mid is questionable, so I can't really put her any higher than B+. Chiron, I don't like Chiron in this meta. He just doesn't seem to be doing well. He seems to die a lot. While I'm not saying Chiron is shit, I'm saying I'd rather have a team comp that... I'd rather have someone figure out where Chiron excels and how he excels and who needs to be played with him, and then match the team comp around that. That's why I'm putting him in B+. Chronos, A tier. Chronos is fine, just not that good. He doesn't bring anything crazy. Once you get to late game, he does a lot of damage, but he dies really fast. A lot of Chronos you see get picked off before they can even get their ult off because they're so fucking squishy. You need to position perfectly on this god, but while you need the good positioning, that's standard. You're playing Smite, you need to position well. Chronos just does fairly decent. Not great, not bad. That's simple. Cupid, B+, an early game hunter. Not really a priority right now. There's just better hunters, straight up. Fafnir, S+. I think Fafnir is one of the top 2 gods in the game. You have a stun, you have a disarm. You actually do so much damage with this god. Once you have, if you go 1 damage item, you do a shit ton of damage in your ult. It's unreal. You've got an AoE slow on the ability. The fact that you can double stun in your ult. The passive is really what brings it all together. Sorry, I can't talk. I said Chiron and then Phyron. So Fafnir, passive, you get extra gold. Kind of like a Watcher's Gift. So with Watcher's Gift, if you manage to get Traveler's Boots and then you have your passive on Fafnir, I consistently, literally, all the time see Fafnir have an entire item on almost every support and have the same gold, if not more, than a lot of the solos, the jungles, if they're doing very well. If the Fafnir somehow gets a kill early as a support, they're just going to skyrocket on gold. I don't know why I can't talk today. It's crazy. I think Fafnir is the top pick. I hate playing against Fafnir. I think Fafnir is very, very good. Next is Fenrir. Fenrir is A tier. He's fine. He needs the right build. He needs a good team comp. He needs them to not just be able to blow him up. I like building tanky with a little bit of pen and damage and CDR, max CDR, obviously. Just spam your abilities. If you would initiate with Fenrir correctly and just have your team behind you, you'll do well. If you try to take some fights like 1v2, you'll fall behind really, really quickly on Fenrir. But Fenrir's fine. You can pick Fenrir pretty much in any situation. Awelix is one of the few gods that hard counters Fenrir. Other gods do well against him, obviously. But he's just not the best. He's not the worst. Freya. We're seeing a lot more Freya. I'm going to put Freya in A tier for now until I see her played more. She's being played in ADC a lot right now in ranked and casuals. She does well. They took out Golden Bow. So clear isn't as crazy, and Freya can be played again. Freya's always been a good mid to late game, a great mid to late game. God can carry very, very, very hard. So she's gonna be A tier. She can carry. She can fall behind. I like playing Serket against Freya. It just does very, very well. Whenever we would scrim against Zatman or playing against Zatman, and he would pick Freya because his Freya's god tier, I would literally pick Serket every time and just camp the shit out of him. Because once Freya beads or ult is down, there's nothing she can do to get away. You just kind of taunt her, poop on her, and then ult her, and she dies because she's so squishy. But aside from being squishy, one of the hardest carries in the game, has to be A tier now that she can actually get through a laning phase. Geb, decent. Like I said, aggressive support seem to be more in, but Geb is good with the right team comp, has really good counter fight potential. Initiating on Geb has become a lot weaker these days, but the fact that you have the peel with the knockup, you have the ults to set up or peel, you have the shield to get people away from when they're targeted. It just does really, really well still. It's just not the best. Juan, good. Healing got buffed. The god got buffed. He's not the best once again, but he does well. Like, there's very few times where he's really bad. The anti-heal, the fact that anti-heal is in the game is one reason that he's not a little bit higher. Also, his laning phase can be countered by a lot of gods just clearing his tablet of salt, whatever it is. I don't even know what the fucking ability is. His spin ability is 3. and his clear becomes a lot weaker, and there's a lot of counterplay behind it. Once he gets 5, though, he's pretty scary. His team fight at the mid Harpies and stuff, the 3v3 team fight with the jungler in the mid is really, really good. It's amazing on Guan. So that's one place he excels. Hades for me, B tier. Hades hasn't played that much. I wouldn't be surprised if someone brings him back into the meta, but for right now, I don't see him fitting into many team comps. Warriors are just doing too well. The tanky builds are doing way too well. P.O is actually really good, but the fact that there's no mobility, there's counter picks like Fenrir, he just doesn't excel in competitive or ranked play. He can dumpster like a pub stomp god. He has basically 3 ults with the 1, the 3, and the ult. He hits for an insane amount of damage. But once the ult's down, unless a lot of people are dead, P.O insta-dies. If P.O's out of position at all, like even in the slightest, insta-dies, misses a knockup, insta-dies, misses an ult, insta-dies. I think P.O can be played, but it's not going to be a priority pick at all. Hell, B+ tier. Anti-healing fucks over Hell. Simple as that. Lack of mobility fucks over Hell. A really good Hell player who knows how to use the abilities and knows how to use the immunity will get away with playing Hell. It just isn't a top pick. Straight up. Anti-heal, tanks, and diving up, just completely diving a Hell. Odin makes it really hard to get away with Hell. Hercules, B+ tier. Hercules is okay. He from full clear now that they buffed it too. But with anti-heal and gods like Nemesis being top, Serket being played, Hercules you're just not gonna get away with. You're just not going to get away with playing a Hercules very often. Hou Yi, one of the top hunters, can kill tanks with the 2. A lot of potential. Clear early is fine. Can clear camps really quickly. Just really good hunter. Very fucking good hunter. If you're good at bouncing your 1, you can one-shot people. There's no way Hou Yi should honestly be S tier, but you can play around a Hou Yi if you are a good player. So Hou Yi, not going to be S tier, can easily be picked at any point in time and just do well. Unbats for me, A+. A lot of people are going Hog. So with people in the jungle, a lot of junglers are buying Hog. So if junglers are starting with Hog and you have a Hunbats, you're playing Hunbats, focus them. Ult them over and over and over and over and over again. They're going to die a lot. They're going to be worthless. Hunbats does very well in this meta right now. They removed Red Pot. That brought Hunbats back in general. Hunbats right then was playable because while Hunbats clear as shit, now a lot of people lost clear potential, crazy clear potential. So Hunbats is much more playable. Then you add the fact that people don't want to buy beads for some reason. GG. G fucking G. Hunbats ult. Simple as that. That's all you guys need to know. Isis. Decent. Thought she was going to be higher up on the pick order, but she's not. She's just not doing all that hot all the time. Still has to be great early game. Like, has to get away with some good shit early game, or she just becomes not as relevant. Not many people can play Isis and get away with her. I don't like her too much in the meta. Janice, A+. Janice, unless they nerf Janice for some reason, which isn't going to happen, always going to be an A+ god. Global ult, ton of damage. CDR, short cooldown on abilities. Clear is fine now without Purple Pot. Janice is great. G2A I actually really like. The potential to rotate the fights by backing and flying into them at speed buff wherever is really, really scary. So if the other team's invading or you're getting invaded, you have a G2A and your G2A can get there, she can really turn fights super fucking fast because there's no way the other hunter at level 5 or early game is going to rotate across the map. It's just not going to happen all that often. Kali. Kali's a fine pick. She's just not that good. Red Pot was actually pretty good for Kali. It gave her early game potential. It would shock people how much damage you did at level 3 with a stun and 2, and then just a couple autos. Kali's not a top pick. It's not going to happen. The fact that Hog's being picked up first is a little bit sketchier for Kali. Makes you want to move her down to B+, but you can still get away with going beads. Kali needs beads. Kali can't die. Kali can't get called out. If you die on Kali, you're fucked. While the ult is great, and you can get away without having beads, I just feel like most of the time you need beads. If you're going to go Kali and go Hog, the other team could just go Fenrir and ult you into the tower over and over again, and you're fucked. Khepri, fine pick. I think the ult is it's easy to play around the ult. I think it's super easy to play around the ult. Khepri's biggest place he excels is in lane where he clears really fast. His team fighting is average, really, really average. He's just good at getting picks. That's why he's only A tier for me. Kukulkan, I think Kukulkan can get played. I honestly do. I think for the longest time Kukulkan can get played. If you can land the ults The damage is insane. Positioning is a little bit different, but the fact that you have mobility is more like you're a Poseidon. But people don't buy Aegis. People don't Aegis Kukulkan ult like they Aegis Poseidon ult. So that's why I'd rather have a Kukulkan on my team than a Poseidon. Plus your one hits like a fucking truck. Kumba Karna. I like Kumba. Once again, one of those aggressive PLE supports, does really well in this meta. Loki. Poo-poo. You can invade a Loki and then Loki's shit. You just keep invading Loki over and over and over and over and over again. Loki's poop. It's as easy as that. Medusa. Early game hunters, once again, like Cupid, aren't in the game right now. Medusa's way more early mid game than she is late game. I'd prefer to not have a Medusa on my team. I don't think she does as well as, say, Ho Yi or Jingwei or a lot of the hunters, so I wouldn't play it. Mercury. A tier for me in the jungle. Mercury does fine. Not a top pick, but not a bottom pick anymore. He does fine. He got a buff on his one, which is nice. Red Pot being out of the game is awesome because you start boots with Mercury anyway, so you have that extra power you're getting from boots, and everyone else lost the power from Red Pot. The Mercury does better. The loss of Golden Bow hurt Mercury a little bit, but people have really... I've been running Jotuns as my first item, and I fucking love it. People have been running Jotuns, people just going straight into Deathbringer or Wind Demon. It's just... Mercury's been getting play and working. I thought he was going to suck dick, but he does well. Neith. A+. Neith can be played almost any team comp. Global ult. Crazy. Can be played in mid. Can be played in ADC. I like having Neith on my team. Neith's clear is awesome. She can rotate and fight and do a shit ton of damage. Nemesis. A+. People play around Nemesis for like 2 years now, and Nemesis has been really good when she first came out, and then average, and then okay, and then average and kind of poopy again. Nobody could win on Nemesis. Now she's played all the time. The ult and the passive, I believe, got buffed over the course of the last few months. Aside from that, I guess the fact that you can get away with Hog and you actually have clear now is awesome. Red Pot being out of the game helped the Nemesis a little bit because Nemesis didn't do that much more damage with Red Pot. And the tanky builds are also in. So the fact that Void Shields are first items a lot right now in junglers makes Nemesis a lot better. She can sit in the fight longer and be more annoying. Getting full CDR on Nemesis in a team play-based like competitive game or ranked game, Nemesis is going to help you carry. It's going to make mages one-shot people. It's awesome. Nija, decent. I actually like the change to the passive, but she's not getting a lot of play. She's decent. Beads counterplays Nija. You miss an ult late game, you can lose the game off of it. So she's not the top pick for me. Nox, B+. Miss a combo, and she's worthless. That's why she's B+. Nuwa, A+. I really like Nuwa middle. I really, really do. I think people are undervaluing what she can do now that Purple Pot's out of the game. She can be passive or aggressive. Most people need to use the passive properly, and you will dumpster with her. That simple. Odin, A tier. Odin's not bad. Odin's not great. He's good for anti-heal. He's not going to be picked all the time, but he is going to get played a lot. If you watch Relegations yesterday, you saw him played a few times. He does really well. He does damage. He's got the tanky builds are in. He does fine. Osiris, A tier. Osiris will be A+, but getting use out of Osiris can be really, really hard. He doesn't have like hard initiation. He just kind of walks at people. So if he doesn't have a lead or if he doesn't have the right positioning, he can kind of get shit on. And with Nemesis being in the game and picked a lot, you pick Osiris and Nemesis, you're fucked. You are not getting away with that. Poseidon, B+. Actives counter Poseidon, not very much mobility other than a little bit of move speed you get from your 2. Similar to a Kukulkan, but Poseidon needs to be a little bit closer to get damage off, while Kukulkan can get a lot of damage off from far away. Ra got a buff, but we're not seeing Ra played much. I think it's still the situation where mobility, and there's anti-heal in the game. Mobility is a problem for Ra, anti-heal in the game. Ra's not that good. Raijin, A+. I think Raijin's great. Crazy burst, crazy early clear. Team damage is nuts. Ult is crazy. There's nothing wrong. Like, mobility on Raijin. Like, Raijin has everything. Rama got a buff for no reason not too long ago. Can clear the wave still. Does amazing. A good Rama player is fucking scary to play against. The steroid just dumpsters. Ratatasker, A+ for me. I think Rat's really good. He's not getting a lot of play. We're going to see what happens when the SPL starts. Raven, A+. I think Raven is right around almost as good as Ama. While it's different play, the initiation and the potential to get in the fight is different, but Raven can take somebody out of the fight really simple. Raven's standing in the face of an ADC with a full tank build. The ADC is not going to do shit, and the ADC is going to die. Scylla, decent, but lost early clear. Still great mid to late game. That's why she's A. Serket, decent. not the best. Not crazy damage, not crazy clear. If you fall behind on Circuit, it's kind of fucking annoying to get into fights. So A tier. Scotty, I see people play Scotty all the time actually, and I don't know how they get away with it, but they do, and they do it very well. So I'm putting Scotty in A. Sobek, A plus. Like I said, aggressive junglers, great. Just don't miss your plucks. Soul, A plus. Soul in the mid lane does a lot of damage. I don't know why it feels like Soul does more damage now, but she fucking shits on me when I'm in mid lane. So Soul should be played. Should be played more. I mean, it's played a lot as it is, or she's played a lot as it is. Her ult does a lot of damage. Her 2 does a lot of damage. She's safe with the 3. Soul's just a good, solid mid pick. Even in the ADC, decent pick. Wukong gonna be A tier, not the best. If he can get ahead, he's really annoying. But if he can't get ahead, he's not that scary. Susano, A plus. I think Susano's great. I think you have to get more farm now to be super scary, because Susano early game is so squishy and doesn't do that much damage with the nerfs and the loss of Red Pot. That's the only downside to Susano. Once you get to level 5, the ult is actually really, really annoying and good for him. It does a lot of damage. It controls a lot. You can really, if you saw relegations the other day, dude got a 3-man pull into a 4-man Susano ult, and he wiped the whole thing. His team was behind him, and the whole team got wiped. It just crushed everybody. So it has a lot of potential. Sylvanas, not seeing a lot of play. I'm going to put him at B+. I really want to put him at A, because I think he's still the same. I wouldn't be, I'm going to put him in A. I think we're going to see Sylvanas played again at some point. I think we're going to get away from the aggressive supports, and people are going to remember what Sylvanas does, and he's going to get played again. Thanatos, B+. I really would only play Thanatos if all the junglers were banned and they had like a Khepri, and I needed to execute. That's it. Thor, A+. Thor can still be played first pick, second pick all the time. There's really no hard counters. Global ult, annoying, a lot of damage, a lot of control. Tier, A tier. That's what I did there. But yeah, tier, decent, not amazing. Isn't the best solo laner, so I can't put him any higher than A. Ul, I think I'm going to put Ul in A+. Ul players that like to play Ul, just, it's fucking annoying. He can be aggressive. He can rotate. He can do a lot of damage, a lot of burst. I even see him play in the middle sometimes. I like him. I'm putting him in A+. There's nothing wrong with him other than the fact that he used a lot of mana. Vamana, I'm putting in A tier. I think Vamana's great in solo lane. Actually, I'm going to put him in A+. I can't put him with same place as tier. Anti-heal is kind of scary for Vamana. If an Odin's not in the game, then it's fine. Vamana is just one of those gods where he actually does a lot of damage. It's hard to kill when played properly if you're not like Circuit. But if Odin, Circuit, or Nemesis are in the game, Vamana's not a top pick. Kind of similar to Osiris. The only thing I like more about Vamana is the fact that he has mobility. That's why I'm putting him in A+. Vulcan, A. I think Vulcan's gonna get played more. I think Vulcan does a lot of damage that, if I guess the builds just have to be correct. I don't know. I think people just haven't played Vulcan a lot, so people forgot how much damage Vulcan really does. While the ult isn't the easiest thing to hit, if you do hit it, it's game changing. It one shot late game, you'll one shot. If you hit 2 people, you'll one shot both of them. It happens all the time. Xbalanque, B+. Lack of clear and the fact with the slow ramp up right now is just not working for Xbalanque. Xing 10, no clear at all. Not a good support, not a good solo, not a good jungler. Period. Then we got Ymir. I'm putting Ymir in A. Actually, I don't think that's fair. I'm putting Ymir in B+. Ymir's just not played that much. Some people play Ymir, but it's not a top pick. No mobility at all. You just focus Ymir. Ymir dies over and over again. Zeus, A tier. Lack of purple pot hurt him a lot. Clear still okay, but lack of mobility and the fact that he's not doing as much damage early game makes him not as scary. He can still do fine. I'm just not as afraid of Zeus as I was before. Zhong, A tier. Zhong can get played because people aren't picking up Shell a lot. It's just not happening, especially in ranked. People just don't pick up Shell. But the second people catch on to Zhong being played again, if it happens, they're just going to pick up Shell. They're going to Shell every time Zhong ults, and Zhong is worthless. That simple. So there's the tier list. Erlang Shen is not on this list for some reason. I think Erlang Shen is the only god missing from this list. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm missing something. If I'm missing anything else, you guys can tell me in the comments below. But Erlang Shen, for me, I think he's amazing as a jungler. I would put him at S with Amaterasu. I think Erlang Shen has early aggression without Red Pot, which is crazy. The control out of the knockup and the root combo is crazy. The ult used properly is crazy. A lot of times I use the ult just to heal. I'll be like in a team fight, get poked out or get poked. Like I'll poke and then they'll poke me back. I'll run away, ult just to heal and then go back in. It does fantastically. If there's any other gods I missed, I don't think there are. I hope there aren't, but there might be. Oh, Terra. Terra's the other new god. So Terra's not on this list either. I don't like Terra. I think she's really annoying. Like to play against, a good Terra is going to be annoying, but just doesn't do that much damage and doesn't have that much guaranteed peel or control. It's just kind of like, can be annoying. If you're chasing a Terra around, it's fucking annoying. But if Terra's called out or if you're going on someone else on Terra's team, she's not that annoying. Just doesn't annoy me that much. So that is the tier list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I realize some of you aren't going to agree with everything, and that's fine. But you don't need, it's not the end of the world. Like, it's not like I'm fucking telling you, I'm not talking shit about your mom here. I'm telling you what I think, where gods are. Deal with it. I don't care if Baka and Loki are your favorite gods ever. Don't put that shit in the comments. I don't care about that. But if you're like, I think Thor should be S+ because of this, and this, that's fine. Don't be like, Loki's the best. I dumpster kids in bronze, so why isn't Loki higher? Like, I don't give a fuck that you play Loki in bronze tier casuals. It doesn't matter. Anybody could beat them. I could play with one hand and beat a lot of those players. So if those are the players you're playing against, your opinion has less relevance to me, and I really don't care to hear it. Not trying to be an asshole. I just really don't, because those players aren't good. I could go play fucking Zhonghui jungle every game and beat those players, and then would Zhonghui be the best ever? No. But when you get to the highest tier play and you see the gods actually used properly against people who have brains, that's where I start to care what people think. That's where my opinion comes from. So I don't really have that much. I don't value opinions that really aren't against the top players, I guess. Yeah, if you have some valid argument, sure, throw it in the comments below, or tell me what you think, or whatever. But when I do try to read the comments, and when I read Loki's the best, but you don't know why, then fuck off. I don't care. That's a pointless comment. It's dumb. It's stupid. I don't want you to look dumb. I want you to look smart. That's why I'm doing these lists, to try to help you out. And plus, it reminds me of what the fuck I should be playing. So, this is my mini rant at the end of the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and the tier list. I will see you all in the YouTube video tomorrow. Sacred.